May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord. Good morning. My name is Kastanas, and I'm a member of the Trinity Choir. I'm here today to offer a guest sermon as a lay member of Trinity. In Jesus' Sermon on the Mount in Luke, we hear 4 simple beatitudes. Blessed are the poor, the hungry, the weeping, and the reviled. Those who are suffering on earth will find great reward in heaven. But the Sermon on the Mount isn't only about reward in the next life. We're also told clearly what discipleship looks like in this life. Do to others as you would have them do to you. This call to discipleship invites humanity to reimagine our relationship with each other and to God. In considering this call, I've been reflecting on the relationship between obligation and freedom. We might think about freedom as individual liberties protected by the government, or the personal freedom to make the choices we want to on any given day. Freedom to wear the clothes we want, to choose the media we consume, to spend our time how we wish. This sense of freedom sees obligation as negative, especially when it causes us discomfort or inconvenience. But what might we lose by claiming this as freedom? The key is in what is possible on our own versus what is possible in relationship with others. Shared obligations are the backbone of community. When we reject any and all constraints that impede our personal comfort and convenience, we limit ourselves. We make our world smaller by blocking our own access to things bigger than ourselves, things we're not capable of doing on our own. When I was little, I used to play soccer from about age 5 to 12, and I loved the game. Now, there were rules I had to learn, of course. I had to play within the lines on the field, I couldn't use my hands, regulation-size ball, and so forth. These rules are what make the game soccer. And beyond the rules, in order to play the game, I had to be part of a team. That meant learning to pass the ball, taking a knee when someone got hurt, bringing the orange slices for halftime once a month, saying good game to our opponents after every match, win or lose. These were commitments I shared together with all my team members. So by accepting the constraints of the rules of the game and upholding my obligations to my team, my teammates and I all became more free to play a game that's only possible in community with others. If I were to reject the rules or reject my team obligations, I'd be left kicking a ball against a wall by myself, which isn't playing soccer. This is the kind of freedom at stake. The obligations of discipleship, of community, unlock access to those things we cannot do alone. And we can no more make it through this life on our own than we can play a game of soccer on our own. Our shared obligations also help us define our shared identity. They set the boundaries, and they show which values fall inside and outside of those boundaries. When Jesus calls us to follow his example and act with mercy, compassion, and love, he is telling us exactly what it looks like to be his disciple. And when we do to others as we would have them do to us, especially when it's difficult, we are, through discipleship, co-creating the kingdom of God here on earth. You've maybe heard the saying, if you want a village, you have to be a villager. How we show up for each other defines who we are as a village. When we return a shopping cart, we're defining our village as a place where we make things easier on the person who comes after us. When we participate in community events and celebrations, especially when we've had a tough day, we define our village as a place where we show up for each other even when we ourselves are struggling. When we vote in community elections, we define our village as a place where participation matters, voice matters, how our elected officials act on our behalf matters. When we make our stewardship pledge to Trinity, reminder that next Sunday is In-Gathering Sunday, we define our village as a place where we invest resources into our shared church home. And in order to have all those things, we have to be those things, even and especially when it's hard. Discipleship is not always comfortable, and community is not convenient. Showing up for our neighbor, loving our neighbor, is not meant to be easy. And that discomfort, that's a blessing. Because having a neighbor to love is a blessing. And when we uphold our obligations to each other in small ways, we develop discipline and temperance. Little by little, we become more resilient to inconvenience, building the muscle to then do it in big ways. One New Testament scholar sums up Luke's perspective on discipleship like this: discipleship is not a solitary act that we do on our own, but only in belonging to the people of God who live as citizens of God's kingdom. Being a member of the people of God does come with obligations, and they aren't as easy as bringing orange slices to the game. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Take a knee for the player who didn't take one for you. That's really what it means to do to others as we would have them do to us, even and especially when they do not. I invite us each to consider how we might lean into the discomfort of discipleship this week, in one small way and in one big way. How can we do the right thing when it's the hard thing? How can we define the values of our community through our actions? Maybe a small way is the next time someone cuts you off while you're driving or crossing the street, you offer a warm smile and a wave. Maybe a big way is reaching towards someone you've been struggling in conflict with. Open up that hard conversation and seek truly to understand them, even and especially if you're not feeling understood. It'll look different in your life than in mine, but the instruction is clear. The obligation we have is clear. And upholding this obligation makes us more free. More free to live out Jesus' call for us to redefine humanity's relationship with God and with one another as we co-create the kingdom of God here on earth. May God bless us today and every day with the inconvenience of community.